Hello, this is Dr. Foojan Zeine, and this is the tip of the week. The price of not paying attention can be high. This past week, I have many incidents of just not paying attention and having to pay some consequences. The first was trying to get into my garage as I scratched the right side of my car onto the garage door. I went to a seminar and had to bring cash for the fee. And just because I didn't double check it and assumed what it was, I went back and forth long way through dark tunnels to my room to get the correct amount 3 times. Yep. Yesterday, although I had mosquito repellent in my purse, I did not put it on and ended up being beaten all over my body and having severe reaction to it. Should I say more? I've paid dearly before for not paying attention. The consequences I shared with you today are insignificant, but still annoying and have created inconvenience. However, it makes me aware of how many areas of life I'm not paying full attention to. How about you? Do you always pay attention to all that you're doing? Could you see how often you have paid a light or a hefty price due to a lack of paying attention? So, what takes your attention away during the day? Some people think about emotionally charged events and rehash them repeatedly. Some dream about future wishes, fantasies, or outcomes. Some bring up scenarios where they felt powerless before and create a more powerful, imaginative result. Some blame others for their mishaps and produce upset and anger for themselves. And some predict really nasty and pessimistic scenarios for their future and provoke fear. Some strategize or think of all the ways to manipulate to create the desires that they want, the outcome that they want. What do you do? How do you spend your time when you're not paying attention to what you're doing, but your thought process just kind of goes away? What are some of the external matters that take you away and take your attention away? Or you actually attend to those instead of whatever it is you're doing? Your smartphone, emails, texts, social media, news, porn, work, games, children, pet, shopping, practically anything. Our mind has become used to multitasking constantly. We might have trained it that way consciously or unconsciously by allowing it to happen. I decided to go on to a walk this morning and kind of like be present to what happened to my attention. I purposely did not listen to music, podcast, or audiobook. I watched my mind wander about all activities I had to do this week, then bringing it back to my walking and the scenery around me. And then I watched it get into argument with a friend in my mind. And then I laughed since that was a fabricated argument, which was really unnecessary. Then for the first time, I saw these two men mowing the grass in our neighborhood. We made a connection and we looked at each other and said hello and waved with each other. And I viewed multiple kind of like spider webs that were on these dense plants. And then they were filled with dew, water, and which gave them this fantastic shine because the sun was shining on them. I'm like, what are they? So I paid attention to that and anymore. And then I felt this kind of gratitude. I felt grateful for the nature that was around me, for the neighborhood that I lived. And it was like, wow, I didn't really ever notice all of this. And they were always here. And, how much of this was I taking for granted every day? Then, as I was walking, I got really intrigued by this artwork of weaving between two trees by the spider. Gorgeous, breathtaking. It was like a wow, what a persistent art. And then, whoops, I almost fell on my face. Here we go again. I was not paying attention to what I was doing, and I could have had a hefty price with my nose going in, right? I could have stopped and enjoyed the weaving and then walked again. but I had to do all of it at the same time. For 45 minutes, I watched my mind and awareness go everywhere and come back. However, I became much more explicit as I returned to the present moment. So I decided to practice paying attention to what I was doing all day at that moment. Like stop what I'm doing to pay attention to another matter that insists on taking my attention. Then stop and return to what I'm doing. This path creates less confusion, less energy, and a richer experience of what I'm actually choosing to focus on. I know that when we're doing a task such as walking around, driving, or moving along, the amount of stimulus becomes much more vast. However, it is the intention of paying attention to the act of walking or driving that allows the entrance of all other stimuli within it that is relevant to keep me safe or enrich the experience. I open myself up to consequences when I stop paying attention to what I'm doing, but continue doing it anyway while paying attention to something else, such as driving and talking, driving and looking, listening to music or do these recent times I've been actually talking on the phone and driving. And then what happens is that I miss the exit that I got to go out with. So these multitaskings all the time aren't working. I've spoken with many parents of young children who have been trained themselves to do 100 activities simultaneously while growing more eyes and ears in the back of their head to watch their youngsters and be safe at all times. But they must stop at times, focus on their body, and quiet down. I've spoken with people trained um, to get themselves and concentrate out of their body while having sex. They're having sex and they're like, Foojan, I can't concentrate on my body and even what I'm feeling because my brain consistently wanders. Yep, that's how we've trained it. We can't even come in and stay focused anymore. People often report like hovering around their body versus experiencing being in their body and life as it shows up. Hence, the sense of anxiety and overwhelm is experienced. Let's focus on what you intend to create. Stop consciously what you're doing, attend to something else fully, and allow a full and rich experience at every moment because you are the one who are choosing to pay attention to it and really experience the experience. Have fun. Why don't you go ahead and kind of monitor your brain a day that you're walking and see what shows up and let me know. Thank you for listening.